Hi, welcome to the last video on fatigue, section B4, overtraining. So we're going to look at the physiological effects of overtraining and the impact that it has on the performance and the body's systems. So we're starting off with the definition of overtraining, and this refers to the training beyond what we are able to do and fully recover from before embarking on another session. And that can either be caused by working too hard in each session, or it can be caused by doing too many sessions and not enough time to recover. So we could look at this in terms of exercise addiction as a cause or program imbalance. So there are key terms that we need to put on our exam papers. So the impact of this is that adaptations of the body cannot happen. So the body would start to weaken. And psychologically, there's a deterioration in performance because you're unable to concentrate, you would lose motivation, and you'd be a little bit disheartened. So let's look at the causes of overtraining, then the addiction and the imbalance program. So an exercise addiction refers to not being able to have rest days. So you feel you can't actually put the rest days in, or you will deteriorate in your performance, or you won't get any better. So perhaps some people even train twice a day. So why might they get addicted to exercise? And one of the reasons behind this is it could be because of the release of the feel-good hormones that are released, neurotransmitters, serotonin and endorphins. And they're released by the body after we've done exercise. They're our body's natural painkillers, and they can actually, that feel-good factor can become addictive without realising it. An imbalance program can lead to overtraining by not leaving enough time to rest and repair. So we can't have that time for our muscles to grow and adapt, and our capillaries and our heart and all the other areas that are affected by exercise. So we'd expect to see 1 or 2 days off if you were taking part in a low intensity training program over the week, or expecting 2 or 3 days off for a higher intensity program over the week. So you've got a few days of rest. Now, it's quite common when we're doing resistance training that we would alternate our muscle groups. So you would do the upper body one day and the lower body another day, or potentially more specific than that, doing single muscle groups like biceps and quads on one day and pectorals and hamstrings or glutes on another day, for example. So the physiological effects of overtraining, so the problems we get physiologically with overtraining, one of them is an endocrine imbalance. Now, hopefully you remember the endocrine system from section A6, and we also know it's continuously used when we're training and exercising to help us get ready for exercise, to help us get the signals into the muscle fibres when we are exercising, and to help us recover as well. Now, this can become off balance, it can become imbalanced if we are overtraining, if we're training too much and not getting enough rest. I was just jogging your memory to a couple of the things here that the hormones do for us. So testosterone helps us with protein synthesis. If you think there's an imbalance there and that can't happen, we're not going to grow as we're expecting to grow. We're not going to repair in the way we're expecting to repair. If cortisol is interfered with, we could have a permanently high heart rate, which could lead to high blood pressure, and this could be quite a serious effect on our performance. So too much exercise causes this imbalance, and therefore we get too much cortisol and adrenaline, and this can decrease resistance to fatigue. So it means that we are not able to train and perform at our best. We'd have to reduce our intensity or reduce our duration or even frequency. It can suppress our immune system and make us more susceptible to infection. And here's an interesting fact for you: respiratory infections you're at a higher chance of getting one of those. It's top of the list if you've got a suppressed immune system. So it's very current in our battle against COVID at the moment. And reduced protein synthesis, I've mentioned before, so we've got fewer gains, and it's going to take us longer to repair and recover, which can be quite demoralising from a psychological point of view. So looking at the impact of these physiological effects, then we've got a reduced ability to perform at your best because we're fatigued, and mentally we might lack concentration and focus in a game situation. We become more susceptible to infection and illnesses, therefore we can't train, or again we can't train as hard as we did before. And as I mentioned there, the respiratory illness in particular makes you more vulnerable to those. It increases our chances of injury. It disturbs our sleep and gives us sleep deprivation. Now, this might not sound like a lot, and your sleep patterns might not be regular. However, this is used as a torture method in some countries, so sleep deprivation can seriously impact your concentration. But physiologically speaking, it can actually reduce our chance of proper muscle growth and proper recovery. And therefore, if we're losing all of those effects, we're going to have a reduction in performance. So I've got a little task for you here. It's a 15 marker, so you will need to stop the video and write your paragraph. And this is your situation. I would like you to imagine you are a PT for a client that is addicted to exercise. They've been in to see you. They're training twice a day, every day of the week. Could you try to write an alternative program for them explaining the need for rest and recovery? So I'd like you to use your notes from this and from the other videos to help you to make this, and then you're going to send that in to me, and I will mark it for the 15 marks. So when I say an alternative program, I'd like you to mention how many days they should train and approximately what they should do. I do not need you to go into sets and reps, just a general intensity and frequency and duration, please, for in terms of the actual program, and then more detail and more focus on explaining the need for rest and recovery and how that's going to help your client if she doesn't train 7 days a week, twice a day. I hope that's clear. Thank you very much.